Alright, let's talk about Mechwarrior 5 Mercenaries. Now, after watching the PC game show and the E3 2021 last month, I noticed that there was a lot of hype with Mechwarrior 5. Now, I know that Heroes of the Inner Sphere just came out recently, so I saw this more as like, PR for the DLC. But it was also released on Steam. And that, I think, made a big difference because it was on Epic in like 2018 or 19. And it's been out that whole time. And then when it finally comes out on Steam, it's like, oh, it's a new game, when really it's not a new game. But that's how I saw it, at least. And I've read some of the comments on the Steam, which made me feel that I was right on that assumption that maybe like they just now saw the game and they started playing and whatnot. Now, I'm going to go over some of the issues in this game that I've felt that has been there since launch and what could improve it. Now, one of the biggest issues Mechwarrior 5 has, in my opinion, is immersion. And I say this because I can only compare this game to its predecessor, Mechwarrior 4 Mercenaries, right? So when I played that game, I played it to death. And when I saw it, the MTX, there's like a MTX version of the game. And when I played that version of the game, it was even better than the Mechwarrior 4 that I remember. And I was playing that one like crazy. And I actually enjoyed the single player campaign like a great deal. And so comparing the two, Mechwarrior 4 had, basically like handcrafted missions. Because I mean, it's single player, which makes the experience better, that someone created all these missions. Whereas you can say the same for Mechwarrior 5, though it wasn't quite the same. And I'll get to that in a sec. But there is a huge difference between Mechwarrior 5 single player campaign content and the auto-generated missions that you play in between the story, single player story missions and after the campaign. So those generated missions are terrible. So terrible that I doubt many players even look at the why, where, and how of the contracts and just skip straight to the negotiation part of it, because it's not like any of that matters. You're not really immersed into the game like that. I don't think even the single player story helped much, to be honest. And on top of that, and what's worse than anything, is to complete like a really hard fought mission and hear how you completed the objective, mission complete, time to head home, only to see yet another fresh lance drop between you and your lance, knowing what will happen next. Like you can see where you need to evacuate. Your armor is paper thin at this point, and so you're gonna die before you evacuate, and the mission is over. All the while, you hear your employers telling you, "Oh, thanks a lot. You defeated the opposition forces," or something like that, and you're like, "What? Like, what do you mean I defeated them? Here's another fresh lance dropping right now," and it's like, I just died and lost a mission, even when I technically completed it. Like this has to be one of the biggest frustrations of this game. Even I wonder why did the enemies just keep dropping? And eventually, if you look at like other players' experiences, you'll notice that they just drop forever. And like even the BattleTech novels don't have anything like this going on. They don't have endless enemies dropping. And you know, I've read those books, and except for the Dark Ages, like the Dark Age stuff, since I was more interested in like the Jihad novels, only to find out there wasn't any. I was wondering what happened in Jihad, and it just went straight to the Dark Age. But enough of that. The problem here is infinite mechs. You can't have infinite enemies dropping no matter what. Like it makes no sense for you to complete an objective, which is, for example, defending a base, right? If you defended the base and your employers are like, you know, thanks, you defended us, good job or whatever, right? Yet another enemy lance is dropped and they're in the middle of said base, but you're leaving, you're going to the evacuation. How did you actually win? Like, as far as like immersion goes, that doesn't look like you defended the base. A fresh enemy lance is sitting in the base, and if you destroy them, another lance will drop, and another, like, forever. Like, how is that, like, how is that winning at all? Like, that doesn't make sense. And even the developers of Piranha games and whatnot, they should know this is stupid. Like, that should never happen. Now, it was just lazy to generate missions like this, to be honest. Which brings me back to Mechwarrior 4. Mechwarrior 4 is really old, yet even in that game, you at least commanded 2 lances. You go through the Civil War and even deal with the clans a bit, but in Mechwarrior 5, you think that they would take the BattleTech universe to a whole new level, right? Well, only the MWO community could answer that question. But before Star Citizen popped up, Mechwarrior Online was the only game where I thought people are paying for these mechs. Like it's free to play, but I remember some of these mechs being advertised for like way more than it would cost to buy a game. And so you think with all the money they generated selling all those mechs that Mechwarrior Online would turn out to be awesome, right? Well, people will have different opinions than I would on Mechwarrior Online, but I've played it a bit, and the additions of the clans and the map and you know, that was a long time ago, but I do remember fighting like a war as Clan Wolf, and we won and got like, you know, got these like accessories or whatever, the cockpit accessories and stuff like that. And it was a decent experience considering how long it took and what's probably in there now. I can't really say. I didn't have high expectations. However, I did expect more than a single player Mechwarrior Online with the BattleTech strategy game map slapped on, or the Rogue Tech map slapped on top of it, because I mean the UI is pretty much the same. Like you could tell they used the BattleTech games map into the Mechwarrior 5. Now they could have done a lot better, and that's what I want to get into now. What improvements can be made to this game? Because again, when I spoke about Mechwarrior 4, I was talking about how you at least commanded 2 lances. Now that game is old, but I played, like I said earlier, I played the heck out of it. I really enjoyed it, and I know a lot of people who love Mechwarrior and BattleTech, they played the heck out of it, but not 5. Not 5. 5 has the graphics and whatnot, but no one's playing 5 like that to me. And the reason is because while yes, they made it look better and they took a step forward, but they took too many steps back. That's the problem. Like, you have to, if you're gonna make a sequel, then you have to add things to the game that brings it way past what 4 is. And to me, commanding 2 lances, that's not even enough. You have to do the same thing that's in the novels. Now you have to really command a mercenary unit. Now you have to have a base. Like, even in Mechwarrior 5 story, you start off in your base, which gets destroyed, but you had a base. Where's the base now? Like, you're in space. See, this is the problem with BattleTech, the BattleTech game. You're in space. You're always in space. You're on the ship. You're jumping to one planet to another, and then fighting these battles and whatnot, right? But at least they tried to add some sort of immersion in the downtime in between missions, having like these like events like pop up while the days are going by. That's what's missing in Mechwarrior 5. You need to have something similar to Crusader Kings, for example. Crusader Kings is like, to me, is like king of like intrigue and all types of events happening. You need that Game of Thrones type of intrigue and events, and because that's what's going on in the novels. Like, people are plotting, planning, scheming all over the Innisphere. So it's like, mercenaries are being stabbed in the back, betrayed. Think about Mechwarrior 4, for example. One of the good things about its single player is that while doing missions, you're a mercenary, you're fighting, other enemies, but while you're doing that, you'll come across other mercenary units. And there's a part in Mechwarrior 4 where you come across a Mechwarrior, a mercenary unit that becomes like a thorn in your side, and it becomes a little more personal, so you go after them and take them out where they're at. And that's cool, because it shows that they could be hired to go after you and sort of being like rivals, and then you come back and get them. Like, you need to have that happen in Mechwarrior 5. You need to have all these events and plots and plans and schemes going on in the Innisphere, and all these wars. Because if you look on the Mechwarrior 5 map, they'll show these hot spots and wars that's going on, but those aren't really wars. That's the problem. You have to make all this stuff real. That's why I was thinking of Crusader Kings. Like you're there's wars going on all around you. You're not the center of the universe. Like, everyone is plotting and scheming, and they're actually doing that all around you, right? And you can get caught up in that too. And that's a story in itself. Like, so you're constantly creating new stories with all the events that's happening. That's what should be happening in Mechwarrior 5. Like, they have to have new stories and events and things going on constantly that make you care. That makes you care about what you're doing and where you're at. Like, if you're in the Maric area, then a whole bunch of things should be happening there. If you're in the Federated Sons, or you're with the Steiners or the Draconis Combine, whatever was going on, Lao, whatever, you should be seeing a whole bunch of events happen that you can be involved in and whatnot, and it matters. When you look at these missions and the contracts and see what what you can do and what's the backstory. No one is. I don't think anyone's reading those. Again, I said this earlier. I don't think anyone is reading any of those things because they don't matter. And again, it's immersion breaking because it doesn't make you feel part of the universe. And like I said, they have to bring it many steps forward compared to 4 by having you have a base, letting you have regiments, not just a lance here and a lance there, or 2 lances. Like, no, have regiments, be able to recruit many pilots and staff, everything, all that. They should have just put all that in. Be able to send your units on missions on many planets all over the place, not just in one spot, where you can personally take command and go on some of these missions or not. The reward should be bigger. Some of these mercenary units is awarded a planet or something like that, or you found a planet that's just that you took over or whatever. Like, it could be all types of stuff, and that would make it way more of an interesting game, and you'd be far more immersed if they took it that way, but in that direction. But instead, it was more like just Mechwarrior Online single player. That's how I looked at it, and I don't want to bash the game for the Steam users, because the Steam users, it's like a new game to them, and I don't want to like rain on their parade or anything like that. But I just felt like you had with all that Mechwarrior 5 currently is, it could have been a whole lot better. I don't think any of the DLCs will fix the game. The mods, I'll give it this: mods make the game a lot more enjoyable. But I didn't think it would be like a Bethesda game where the modding community has to like come in and save the day. I didn't think it'd be like that. But there's a whole lot more. It leaves the game wanting. I would like a whole lot more in this game. There's probably more DLCs on the way. I rather they put an expansion or something, because they left the story open to like something else, like as if they plan on making more. But I don't know. The company, I think the company was recently bought by someone else, so I have no idea what's gonna happen. But again, that's just my 2 cents on Mechwarrior 5. I hope you enjoyed my small review. I wouldn't call it much of a review, more than just my gripes. It started off as a mini review, but it's more like a gripe. But I would talk about this DLC, Heroes of the Inner before I let you guys go. The DLC, the reason why I didn't speak much on the DLC is because the DLC does not really add much to the game. For those who've played Mechwarrior 5 since like 2018 or whenever it came out, Heroes of the Inner is not going to make you return to the game. It's just not. It's more like an add-on than anything. It doesn't add any elements to the game that will make you come back and enjoy the game in a whole new light. All in all, the things that the DLC adds to the game is, for example, you have a cantina now. Now you can visit a cantina on the map, on whatever world has one. You choose these missions, which is basically like egg hunt type missions, where it's like, oh, well, now when you do these missions, you can go look for this too, which just delays the game, like your missions. That's all it does. So once you choose these mission types, you'll continue your contracts and continue doing your missions. But while you're in there, you'll see another nav point where it's like, hey, I can go here and pick up this armor, or I can go here and pick up whatever it is that the cantina mission was. That's all you're doing. That's it. Or I'm going to this warehouse, I'm going to scan it and pick up whatever item is in there. That's literally all it added to the game. And then once you've done that, you continue on your mission. And there's some cantina missions where say, oh, kill three of these mechs, or collect 5 urban mechs. So like if you buy 5 urban mechs, that counts. Or if you collect it any other way, as long as you have 5, it counts. Like, that's literally what it added to the game. That's it. It's not a game changer. It doesn't really add much to the game at all. It's still the same game. So once you've done that and you've completed one, you collect your reward, which isn't much, but at least you get a reward. And there'll be another screen where you can select, or you can look at your upgrades, basically upgrades that you get by doing all these side missions, right? So that's pretty much what it comes down to. By doing these side missions, you get you level up. Like, you get another sort of XP in itself just for doing those, and you can get like your own upgrades that might make you shoot faster or something, like all these type of upgrades, right? Which I've put on the screen so you can see, but that's it. And they added some more like Mechwarrior Online hero mechs and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. They added some more mechs. That's not really much. For me, that is nothing. That should have been in the game from the jump, but it wasn't. But when I played the game again just to see what it was about, and I saw that that's all it was, I realized really quickly that that's not going to bring life back into the game. I think the people who bring life back into the game is the mods. So support any of these modders who really add to the Mechwarrior 5 game, because they will make some pretty interesting mods, like bringing the clans back and giving you more to edit in your mech lab. You know how in Mechwarrior 4 you actually could do a little more in Mechwarrior 4 than you could in 5, but in the MTX version you had a lot more to work with, and there's mods like that now where you can like swap the engine and stuff like that, where you can't even do that in Mechwarrior 5, but you can now with mods. So yeah, support those modders. So that's about it. Thank you guys for listening to my gripes about Mechwarrior 5. Again, I didn't want to bash the game. I just wanted to point out issues that I found frustrating for many players besides myself, and basically just critique and what they could have done better. But anyways, stay tuned for my next actually I will be reviewing a few more games, and we'll release those in time. So stay tuned for that, and hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.